Vegas, so we want to communicate with you for that and going into the new month. So on Sunday, everybody write that down. Sunday, there will be a team call at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Everybody got that? All right. Now you want to take a picture of this slide. Just take your phone out, and you want to put these things in your phone because this is what actually takes place every single day of the week. Everybody got that? This is what takes place. You have a weekly opportunity. Now, I want you guys to understand, and I'm going to really train on this probably on the week after convention. I really want to train on this because I don't want you to get caught up in your business where you're actually trying to tell people what to do with their business. Does that make sense? Everybody gets in the business for their reason. Everybody is not in the business to be a team builder. Everybody is not in the business to be a travel agent. Some people are just involved in the business for various reasons. Some of them may just want to supplement their income and make an extra $100. Is that okay? Is that okay? And is everybody understanding what I'm saying? Some people just want the tax write-offs. Is that okay? Sure it is. But you cannot tell people what to do because of the way you are wanting to do your business. I hope that's making sense to everybody because everybody has their reasons for starting their business. Everybody understand that? So don't get mad if they don't want to do it on the level that you're doing it on. Some people may just use it for a vacation club. When they're using it to go on vacation, it is still instrumental for that person that just wants to use it as a vacation club. Does that make sense? And does that give us any reason to be upset with that person simply because they just want to use the business for those reasons? And we must learn how to respect them. This is one of the reasons why we have ourselves to be here to actually support everybody that's here. Does that make sense? And that is Eastern time. All right. So if everybody can hear me, because I'm going to be asking you questions throughout this training, and that way y'all can, sometimes the audio may go out. If everybody can hear me, give me a 1, and we're going to go ahead on and get started with our first guest. This gentleman has been really a part of Vacation since 2007. He took a little hiatus for a while and then came back and started all over again and started building his business again, full time. All right. This gentleman has just literally hit the ranks of international executive, ladies and gentlemen. He is hailing out of the Philadelphia area. He is a personal development coach, as he is on a personal development call every single morning at 9 o'clock. This gentleman also has a family of 3 lovely children. All right. He has won an Emmy Award in the news business where he was a director at the short age of 23 years old, owned 2 houses by the time he was 24. And this gentleman continues to move forward to the point that at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, he always loved helping people and seeing other people's results in a positive way. So I want y'all to give it a round of applause for our very own international executive, Mr. Jamial Mumford. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you, Mr. Satchel. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you well, sir. And my goodness, how are you on today?
I'm doing super fantastic, excited, jacked up out of my mind. I'm so excited about to bite the back of a chair.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Well, Mr. Mumford, I'm not going to prolong this situation because of the time frame and basically being mindful for the time. Why don't you come up and just share? I know you've been in network marketing for, 15, 16, I'm not sure years, but let's hear a little bit about your story and what actually attracted you to the business model, network marketing, and when and at the time that you decided to actually get involved in the industry itself. What was that all about? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, I was actually just out of college, just about to graduate college, actually. And actually, my first son's godfather, who was obviously older than me, but he, a good mentor, kind of a friend, a good mentor, older brother of mine's, so to speak. And I made him my son's godfather, and he was the first one to introduce me to network marketing. And I was about 21 years old, just out of college. So, just it was pretty interesting that I never realized that, there was other ways of making money because obviously, I did go to college and graduated with a communications degree in broadcast television and started working in the television industry and didn't know that there was other ways of making money. And he introduced me to the industry at that time. So I was in a company for a good while. I was with that company for about a good 5 years actually, and not really having much success. Very minimal success. Because I really wasn't about the industry. I didn't have a lot of skill set. But one thing I did do is I was involved in all trainings. And Saturday trainings have been in my life since that time because we would go out to Voorhees, New Jersey every single Saturday. I had to drive out there after my show at the morning news station, and we had training from 10 to 12 out there in Voorhees, New Jersey. So, always been around the industry, and I think I just always loved the training, the aspect, the motivation behind it. Really didn't know about the big money that could be earned because I was kind of like, into my career at the time, to be honest with you. And but at the same time, I didn't take it. I took it serious, but not so much serious as far as the money. I love the training aspect of it truly. So I really learned all the ins and outs about the industry, but I wasn't really working it the way I do today.
Mm.
So actually, that company, it was like the funny thing. That company was a free opportunity. I won't name the name of it, but it was actually no cost to get. And I want people to hear this because this is my story. It's really amazing, and I look back because I really am for the average person. That's why when people tell me they can't win in this industry, I'm not the person that had all the skills and all the influence out there. I mean, I did have some influence. Don't get me wrong, in the spiritual world, but in the religious community. But I wasn't no big time leader and big time success business guy. I just was a guy that was driven and went to college. So in that industry, that company, it was a free company. It was free to sign up, and there was no monthly fees, Mr. Satchel.
Mm.
And I was barely making $100 a month. And the $100 a month that I was earning, and it's somewhat a residual because that was because my in-laws bought product from me. They felt bad for me enough to buy product for me, and I sold a couple things like to my family, and they would buy a soap powder here and something like that. So it was really amazing. So I was having no success, and it was free. Hence the word free. I want everybody to hear the word free, Mrs. Satchel. It was free,
It's
and
free.
yeah, right, free, right. Everybody type free, right? So everybody want to get that. This operative word was free, and I had very little success. I actually, and at that time, the company was going to go public. I was excited about that because they was going to stock exchange, and then all of a sudden the company got sold.
Mm.
So once the company got sold, I pretty much was like, well, wow. It kind of hurted me because I really got excited towards the point of the company going public because I knew that, man, it's time to get some stock in the company and all those things. And all of a sudden the company got sold, which I look back now and understand why the owner sold it because, I mean, he said he invested $1 million into the company and all of a sudden somebody offered him $52 million to buy the company. And now I look at it and I said, I guess I will sell the company too for $52 million. But he sold the company and I got out the industry. I was very upset. I said the industry doesn't work. I said this stuff doesn't work, and I mean I got out the industry. I just was done with it. And obviously, I went about a year and a half before I got back in it because then I met someone like you, who all of a sudden you just got into the industry for the first time, and here you're telling me about this company that you were involved with. And I'm saying, I know about network marketing. This guy can't teach me anything, And I'm saying I knew about the industry prior to you even came to me. And I said, and of course, the long story, it took you about 6 months to really get me to come back into the industry because I said I was done. I'm not going to do it. And at the time I'm making $100,000 a year plus in my career at CBS News. So I wasn't really looking to make any extra money. I was doing well. I lived an American dream, had a nice house in Delaware, white picket fence, almost an acre of land. So I was doing well to be in my mid-20s. You couldn't tell me anything.
Mm.
So obviously when I saw you start succeeding in your company, and it was obviously prior to vacation, that's what made me get into back into the industry. But what my turning point, now stop here, was when I really, really took hold of the industry. Was I came into some hard times in my life, lost $55,000 on a 3-month decision. Obviously lost my marriage. That cost me a lot of money financially, and obviously the court system, when they get involved, that cost me a lot of money financially, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, and my whole 6-figure income was bottled up in a matter of months. And I looked at my check, and that 6 figures that I was earning, I could pretty much tell you I was probably taking home about 12 grand of that 6 figures. Because everything else was going to fines and fees and all that kind of other stuff. You guys understand that process. Okay, I'll just leave it there. And that's when I knew I had to make a decision, because I knew I couldn't get another job. I was already working a great job. I loved what I was doing, but there was no more. I was capped. What more could I do at that time? And the only thing I kept telling myself, I went to my mentor, and I thank God for this mentor, and that's when I got serious about this industry. He came to me and I said, listen, I'm now got to pay at the time. I mean, folks, I'll tell my story. I was now paying $2,300 a month in child support. Okay, I was paying $30,000 a year in child support. Okay, so you get the idea, right? And I was very frustrated. I was very mad. And I went to my mentor and I said to him, okay, what do I do? Do I just quit my job? What do I do? And he looked at me. He said to me sternly, he says, I want you to go out there, Jamial, and I want you to start a business, and I want you to replace all the money that you were paying in child support. See, folks, I want you to understand something. David Manning's story, the president of our company, me and him shared the same story. That's why I embraced this company. I would never leave it, because the reason why he started network marketing was because of child support. He started his network marketing business, and he started this business because of child support reasons, and we share the same story. And Mr. Satchel, when I tell you, when he told me that, that's when I got serious about this business. It was in 2007. I got started in Tavares, and which was called Tavares Before Vacation. And Mr. Satchel, we started in April. So me and you on our 10-year anniversary this month. But by September of that same year, I had already replaced half of that child support in residual income. That's why I got a hold of this industry.
Hold on. Say that again. And what? Wait a minute. What happened?
I got started in April of that year, 2007. We got started. It was ironic that it was divine that we got involved in this company, because that was the same time I had that thing happen in my life. And when my mentor said, start a business and replace that income, keep working the job, but I want you to start and replace that income. And I got started in April of 2007. And by September of that year, before we went on that first cruise, I already was at half. I was earning half of my child support payments in residual income.
Wow. Well, that leads us to, and I want you guys to hear this. How many of you have ever heard a person say, okay, I'm gonna try it. Let me see if it works. Let me, watch what I'm saying. Some of us have already, well, let me see if it works. Well, obviously we know it's already working, right? But a person will come in and say, let me see, let me try it, and things of that nature. And I remember listening to a coach on the last one I said, and he said, I was not in a position to try anything. I was in a position I had to do it. It was a must. It wasn't like I'm going to try it. I'm not in that position of trying right now. I'm in a position of a must. This must happen. This has to. Is anybody thinking that in the way that Mr. Mumford is saying right now? And this is what makes the difference. And though some people come in and they just, the mindset is not where it needs to be. But when you line up the belief system of I'm in a position, Kemp, because they're taking $2,300 out of my check. Some of us are in that position now where we're looking at it and our bills and the debt and all of those types of things. But Mr. Mumford, you said you came in here with a must. I got to make this happen. I got to try. It's already happened. It's not on trial. This is something I got to do. So why vacations? Why vacations for you? I know you started replacing some of the income, and you've been here now, April the 26th. It'll be 10 years. Why vacation?
Well, I have been in the industry. I have seen a lot and across the industry. And and something I kept telling myself was, and I remember when we was on our last project prior to coming into the travel business, and then I did take a hiatus. I got to a point where I thought the grass would be greener on the other side, as they say. But I
Mm.
remember when I did leave vacation, the one thing I said was that I've never seen a compensation plan ever. And what's amazing to me is that even the leaders that have left this company, I've learned from them, and I still watch them, and still to this day, they still can't even topple their own statements. Because I mean, one of our leaders had $100,000 guarantee. He put $100,000 in the bank, and he said there is no compensation plan that can compete with vacations compensation plan. There is none. And even I had to be a privy. Even I had to see. I tell the truth all the time, Satchel. I don't sugarcoat anything, and I became a victim of my own statements because
Mm.
this company, when I saw the industry, and when I understood that the industry, the average person will only recruit 2.5 people, and that when I looked at the company plan that David Manning had set up, he set this company plan that the average person, when I was going through my back office this morning, right, and I was looking at my team, and I was starting messaging people on my team because I see some of them inactive and some of them like in cancellation status. And I'm saying, do you even know that you have people under you? I saw one person, she's inactive, and she has 12 people in her matrix.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
This is why I do vacation. Because if you stick and stay, you will get your pay. Mr. Satch, and the reason, I mean, look at my back office, people still on the books from 2007, 2008. They can't go anywhere because the company is now paying them a residual income, and because of the spill in the matrix, there is no better compensation plan. So even when I tried to go and find something better, and those things they were like flim flams, they lasted for about 5, 6 months, 8 months, and then they shut doors. And I said something to Mr. I said, if anything ever goes through, I will come back to the best thing I've ever seen. This is the best compensation plan where the average person can definitely win. And I know David Manning's heart. He has the heart side of Texas, and I said I would never go anywhere else.
Mm. 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 So, how has the travel? What was your travel like prior to getting in vacations? Like, what were what was your travel like before you got into vacations?
I wasn't doing much travel. I mean, obviously, I did a little traveling, with the family, here and there, and it was very far apart when we did travel, and obviously on the cheapest we can do it, especially when you have 3 kids back to back to back. But once I got into vacation, what got us in here was I remember when the friend told us that they had a cruise for $240. Now I never cruised prior to coming into the travel business. I've never taken a cruise. Okay, and so I've been out the country because I did go to South Africa, so that obviously that was a trip because I went to get married. So that's the only way I went to South Africa because I went to get married. Okay, so outside of that, like my first time flying in my life, my first time flying was to South Africa. My first time flying was a 19-hour flight to South Africa. And I lost my luggage. Go figure. My first time flying, right? So and when I got into Package, they had that first cruise for $240. And when I saw the trips they had in that back office, Mr. Satchel, I took 5 cruises in 2 years. Once I got into vacation, okay. So I now travel, and that's why I work my butt off to get off that full-time JLB, because I now travel at least once, if not twice a month now, and take great vacations and stay in nice places.
Mm. Once or twice a month, ladies and gentlemen, literally being apart, being able to work this business full time, being able to pay his bills and things of that nature. I'm just going to sum it up real quick, Mr. Mumford, if you will. Just share something to give to the people and let them know whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your heart. Just take the next 5 minutes and just teach the people that's listening to you right now.
Well, I woke up this morning, and obviously being a life coach, I always contemplate idea thoughts. Obviously my study is to study why people don't succeed. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but truly, I study continually as a life coach why people don't succeed in any area of their life. Just this morning, one of my clients, he overcame an amazing accomplishment. and I took him through a process, and then he sent me a text message this morning, and I'm just like, you got it, yes, and so I woke up this morning and I thought to myself if I wanted to share anything, and I'll share this statement, something that hit me 2 years ago, and I'll share this with everybody, and you might even write this down. If you argue your limitations, you get to keep them. If you argue your limitations, you get to keep them. So I'm gonna give everybody the question right now. Why are you not successful in your vacation business? Why are you not recruiting every single day? Why is your matrix not growing every day? Why is your enrollment team not growing every day? Why are you not doing the business every single day? And whatever question you give me, that is your limitation. And if you argue your limitation, you get to keep it. So again, Mr. Satchel, see, that's why I almost want to change my team name, Team No Excuses, because I love the other team name that we have in vacation, because I like that, because I know when I came into this company, I'm the poster child of that you can get it done. Because I was working full time. See, people, they look at me now and they say, "Oh, Jamial, it's easy for you to say that." I was working a full-time job, but I made sleep. See, if I told myself I need sleep, some of you, see, a lot of you, sleep is your main excuse, and that's why you can't get the business done. A lot of you, laziness, fatigue, tiredness is your excuse, and that's why you can't do the business. Your children. I got kids. I'm a parent. I'm a single parent. I'm a full-time dad. I'm a full-time mom. I got bills. I got this. Whatever you say, it's not. The gentleman said business has no sympathy. Business has no sympathy. So this vacation is a business. When you signed up, you now have a business. But the thing about this business is it has no sympathy. It doesn't care if you have a death in the family. It doesn't care that your kid's been taken away from you, Jamial Mumford. It doesn't care that you just got laid off. Business has no sympathy. It doesn't care you just lost your house. It doesn't care whatever you say is the reason why you can't be successful. It doesn't care that you have fear of talking to people. Business has no sympathy. And so if you argue your limitations about why you cannot succeed in this business, well, I don't know how to do it, Jamial. I don't know how to communicate. That's your limitation. That will be the thing that will keep you, and you will attract always into your business, and you will not succeed in this business. So at the end of the day, Mr. Satchel, I rid myself of my excuses. Excuses are like belly buttons. Everyone has one. But also, every excuse has an expiration date. See, whatever excuse is the reason why you cannot be successful on vacation, that excuse has an expiration date. See, mine just happened to come at an early age. I hope yours comes sooner. Mine came at the age when I walked in that courtroom and that judge laid that hammer down and said, of your 6 figures, Mr. Mumford, we're going to take $65,000 of your 6 figures. See, at that point, when I wasn't successful in network marketing, when I was dipping my toe and playing around, mixed use, all the excuses I made, I got family commitments, I'm a big time dad, and I got all this stuff. All the reason why I said why I couldn't do it, Mr. Satchel, that day my excuses got expired. And every single day from that point on, I have expired my excuses. And that people say, Jamial, team no sleep. No, folks, it's not team no sleep. I have no excuses. I make no excuses, because excuses are nothing but a well-planned lie. That's all it is. Whatever the reason why you can't be successful on vacation right now, you can convince me, but guess what? You can't convince the ether of business, because business has no sympathy. So that means that every single one of us under the sound of my voice, even myself. See, right now I'm pushing for diamond very hard now, because guess what? I make no excuses for why I can't succeed. There is no excuses. I will not sleep. I will run. I will tire myself out until I hit my goal, because guess what? If I tell myself I'm tired, that will be my limitation. And if I argue that limitation, guess what, Satchel? I get to keep it. So every one of us, you are exactly where we're supposed to be in vacation right now. Me, myself, and everyone on this call, we are exactly where we're supposed to be in vacation based on the excuses and the limitations we place on ourselves. I'm taking off the limits. Back to you, sir. Thank you.
Wow. Let's give it up for our very own IE. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, he has done a phenomenal job, and I am so proud to have him as one of our leaders. This gentleman is here for you. You might want to go in the back office, go to the website. You'll find his phone number. If you have any questions or concerns, he can definitely, You can connect with him at any time. He's doing it full time, and literally, he's a coach. If you need some coaching, he does that as well. And he continues to build this business big. So we definitely want to thank you, Mr. Mumford, for showing up today and showing out. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, I got a treat for you. Another brand new international. This young lady, not only has she become an international with the company, she is one of the top 100 travel agents in the company, which she will be recognized for at convention. Let's give it up for our very own. She was in here crying yesterday for all of the comments and things that were shared on her site, and I guarantee you she can appreciate all of it. It's like we say, it's nothing more precious than grateful. Being grateful. Everybody write that word down. Just type that word out. Gratefulness. Everybody do that for me real quick. When you learn how to be grateful, ladies and gentlemen, I can promise you the success of your life will take exponential growth. When you learn how to be grateful, at the end of the day, what did I just say? Your life will take on exponential growth. And I can promise you that. Why? Because I remember when I wasn't grateful, and I can now know that I'm very grateful for Mr. Manning and all that he does. And hold on, let me see if I can cut this down a little bit. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen. Testing. All right, Lynn, I'm gonna need you to come in here and turn off your audio. Just turn your audio off and come in here, and you can sit with me. Yes, and that way we won't have any echo. And I'm grateful for that. Come on in here. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our very own IE Miss Deidre Lynn, who has just hit that beautiful rank, and she is the top 100 travel agents for all of you that love booking travel. I guarantee you she's the queen. She will help anybody and everybody. And I can promise you this. She done got a taste of that residual income, ladies and gentlemen. So, Miss Deidre Lynn, why don't you greet the folks and let them know you're here. How you doing?
I am quite well and swell. Good morning, everyone.
How you doing?
I'm awesome. Oh my gosh, I am so excited, or I'm flat out excited. I am just hyped.
Why are you excited?
Because oh my goodness. I can't, this year has just been last year into this year has just been a hallmark year. A lot of great and awesome things have happened, and I truly am grateful for where I am right now with my business, where I am in my personal development. I am just grateful.
Awesome. Well, why don't we go back a little bit? How about 3 years ago? How long was it before you worked for a huge communication company called Comcast? Just in case y'all know, she always says communication company, but she worked for a company called Comcast. And Comcast, how long were you working for them?
I worked for Comcast for 20 years. 20 years.
20 years.
Yes.
And you used to fire people.
Yes, I did.
She was a manager in marketing and things of that nature, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna let you take the story on from here and tell us what happened and how you got involved in vacation.
Well, again, I was a marketing director at Comcast, and I had been there pretty much for 20 years. I moved from Philly and went to Comcast in 1989. And I started out as a customer service rep and worked my way up through the ranks to the marketing director. And it was a great job. I was one of those just that really took that whole 40 40 40 plan. I took it to heart. My mother always instilled in me, go get a good job, get up in the morning, don't call in, go to work, go get that money. And that's what I did. And I just believed that, after I had served my time or worked for my employer well, that I was going to be rewarded and retired and, the whole bit. So when I actually got laid off, I was devastated, just totally devastated, because it was like, now what do I do? And, having three kids, two of which were in high school and 11th and 12th grade at the time, having proms to pay for, college tuition, all of those things looming over the horizon, I was totally devastated when I lost that job.
Mm-hmm. And I know when you lost it, it was right around the Christmas holiday.
Yes, pretty much they told me 2 or 3 weeks before Thanksgiving that I would no longer have a job come December 1st. So that was a bitter pill to swallow, to go home and tell your children, that mommy's no longer working. And we had really had a lifestyle that we had grown accustomed to. I was being a marketing director, I was able to get tickets to games and just do a lot of things. And my kids had everything, I had provided to them to the point where they had everything that they needed, but they had pretty much everything that they wanted. And to all of a sudden, things for them, that was a hard reality.
And if not, your mother passed away shortly thereafter, so life was just kind of showing up.
Yeah, life showed up in a big way. My mother, she passed on Christmas Eve, and for those of you who don't know, I'm adopted, and I actually found my mother on Christmas Day some 30 years ago. And so when she died on Christmas Eve, that was that was hard for me to deal with. And not only did she die, but my grandmother died and my adopted mother died. I had like three of the most influential women in my life die within a 90-day period.
Wow.
So that really left me in a bad way.
Wow. And then you went out on the job search.
Yes, I had a couple of interesting jobs that I have done preceding coming to finding a vacation opportunity. I worked in a dress shop for women, and let's see, what else did I do? I worked at a caterer company where they did catering. And then ultimately, my last job, I was actually working at a nursing home, and I was the human resources manager there.
What happened here?
That was stressful. I had no idea that working at a nurse home was so stressful in that particular capacity. And it just came to a point where, character and integrity, these things showed up. And, sometimes you're put in a position where you do things that you cannot agree with or you can no longer support. And I made the decision that I just, could no longer do those things. So
Wow. So how do we start vacations?
well, the opportunity, actually, my first exposure to vacation was I had a high school girlfriend who was always on a trip. And every time I saw her post on Facebook, she's, in a pool with a pina colada or a margarita. And I'm like, what is she doing? Like, do you actually gainfully work? And she told me she was in the travel business. And that was my first exposure to it. And I was like, wow, that must be really nice to like travel. I never saw her working, but I always saw her traveling.
So that was your first exposure
That
to
was my
vacation.
yes, that was my first exposure. But even then, I didn't give it much thought. I was like, oh, that's nice that you're able to do that, but I never thought that that was anything that I could do.
Mm, mm.
So I guess as once we met, and at that particular time you were rebuilding the vacation business, and I was listening to the webinars. We were doing webinars at that time, I want to say every 2 hours or every
Mm-hmm.
hour on the hour. And I kept hearing this vacation, and I'm like, what is this vacation? So I did my due diligence, and started looking on Google and trying to find out what vacation is. And then, of course, the first thing I saw was it's a scam. And I'm like, oh my. And so,
So that kind of tainted our relationship right there because she's like, this guy is into a scam. Wait a minute.
but I had to just think about it on faith, like, he looks like he's doing pretty well for himself, and I'm looking at where I'm at right now. I'm on unemployment and I'm not doing well at all. I said, so, I'm gonna give vacation a try. I want to show, or I want to show that somebody can walk in off the street and become a travel agent.
Mm,
And that was one of my main thrust when I first joined. I said, I want to be the example of somebody walking in off the street and becoming a travel agent.
now, watch this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm building the organization at that time. Her total focus was the travel side of the business. Like, again, hearing what she's saying, and let's just take you down that process. What did that process include? You took the certification at that time. Let's go from there.
Well, I just broke out the gate like gangbusters. I took the certification probably in an hour and a half or 2 hours. And being able to do this full time because of your residual income, every day I literally just was like, okay, which certification am I doing today? What's on my schedule today? And I would challenge myself, how quickly can I get this course done? Or how quickly can I get that course done? And pretty much, well, that's what I probably say the first 7, 8 months doing. I just was amassing different certifications, just trying to get all of the knowledge that I could. I would practice doing quotes. I
What
would.
do you mean by that when you say practice doing quotes, and how it can that play in somebody that's looking at this right now? Because I know a lot of people say, I haven't booked, but then they'll wait until it's time to book.
Mhm.
And because they didn't do any kind of sample quotes or anything, how does that play a big part in a person that's looking at this business right now for the first time?
Well, the learning, and someone just said education is key. The learning is everything, because I know a lot of times everyone gets excited, they rush, they go through the Extreme Travel University, they post their certificate. As soon as you post that certificate, your inbox blows up. Everybody wants you to look up a trip. And what I have found is that the quicker you are able to send out that quote, the quicker you're able to seal the deal or close the sale with that. And a lot of folks, and I was guilty of this at first, I was scared because I was like, oh my God, I don't think I know how to do this, or I don't think I'm doing this the right way. And I would drag my feet with these quotes. And once I did send the quote out, then all of a sudden you don't hear from the person. Or as I say, they go into witness protection. And so what I found, that I started concentrating on becoming good at quotes. So I would plan trips for Kemp and I. Not that we ever went, but at that point I would say, okay, let me try booking a trip, I got pretty good at booking trips to the Caribbean. So let's try to book a trip to Europe. Let's try to book a cruise. Let's try to book a trip that has more than one stop. And I was just challenging myself. So I got to the point where I could do quotes, and probably I could do the average quote in probably anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes and have it in their inbox. And I'm like, okay, so now what? We going on a trip? What?
Mhm.
What's up?
So basically, you're saying even after one takes the certification, takes Extreme University,
Mhm.
you then go into some of the vendors. How did you determine what vendors? Because we have several vendors back there. How do you determine what most valuable vendors there were? How did you determine that, being that you were new at the game and self taught? Go ahead.
My process was, or my whole philosophy is that travel has to work for you. This has to work for you. This business has to work for you before it works for anybody else. And that builds your belief system. So when you are able to go to a particular vendor and make a reservation, and you can let them know, hey, I'm a travel agent, and then they show you the regular rates, and then they show you the travel agent rates, that's everything. And so what I did was I looked at the vendors list, and the vendors that I were already had a relationship with, or that I already knew of or was already using as a customer. Those were some of the first ones that I decided to use as an agent. I love to stay at Marriott hotels, for example. I'm always staying at a Marriott. I'm a Marriott Rewards member, so it made sense for me to develop my relationship with Marriott, but on the travel agent side, and to learn how to leverage that.
Wow. So basically, you're saying the things that you would use personally are the first vendors that really attracted you first, and then you went into other things to actually supplement those agents. So we talk about Vax, we talk about FunJet, things like that. Why those vendors?
Well, those particular vendors, Vax is so important. Vax is, I like to liken it as a shopping mall. And when you go to a mall, you have hundreds of stores, but you have those 4 or 5 what they call anchor stores,
Mm.
like those big name stores. You'll have your Macy's, you'll have your Nordstroms or your Neiman Marcus, and then you have a whole bunch of little stores.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you go into Vax, I think now there's probably about 20 different vendors just going into Vax.
Mm.
And just by that one login, you can have access to 20 different vendors,
Mm.
and all of those vendors bring something different to the table.
Wow, 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 wow. So also I noticed, like when we first came in, they kept saying that you can't get commissions on airfares and things of that nature, but you have found a way.
Yes, 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 I have. And this isn't anything new, but we have vendors out there. Just one that I always like to go to is Fairbuzz. And with Fairbuzz, I will shop the price of the airfare. And with Fairbuzz, you are actually able to add a service charge, which is, in other words, your commission,
Wait
and
a minute. You say you will shop
the
the airfare.
airfare.
What do you mean
Mhm.
by that?
So if someone comes to me and says, hey, I need a flight to Vegas, for example,
Hmm.
so I'll go on my website and a couple of other retail sites to see what a flight to Vegas is going for.
Now, when you say, watch this, you say your site and retail sites. Well, what are retail sites to that?
Retail sites would be um, Priceline, Expedia, Travelocity, Booking.com. There's Kayak.
Hmm.
And I'll go to those sites, and maybe I'll pull up 3 or 4 different screens, and I'll start pricing out the airfare or doing my research.
Hmm. Hmm. And then go to.
Fairbuzz, and in some cases, if the flight is cheaper, then that's where I'm able to add a markup. And sometimes, even if it's not cheaper, I'll add a markup anyway. It'll be something nominal just because, and I'll let folks know, this is the cost of, my travel agent fee.
Hmm.
A perfect example, I had a young gentleman who he's in college and he wanted to come home for Christmas. And he literally called me on Friday wanting a ticket for Monday.
Hmm.
And I just let him know that that was going to be extra because he waited till the last minute, which he was okay with. But I also had built a relationship over time with him, so it's not I already know that he's not double checking behind me and that he actually trusts me. And I just tell him, I charge $25 to book your airfare. He's okay with it. He keeps coming back, and I keep him as a happy customer.
This is so important because I see people get into this business and they have no real value for the business. Now, and I see that you go out a lot to the travel shows and you're seeing other travel agents that's out there. What is the difference of you being a part of vacation and some other travel agent that's out there that's just a part of a host company or another company? And what is it that you can't do that they can? Like, let's just say they work for a travel agency like AAA or something like that. What is it that we can't do here in vacations that another travel agent can do?
Quite honestly, I haven't come across it.
Nothing.
No, not really. No.
Wow.
No. I think of the one thing they don't have, in a lot of cases when I talk to them, especially when we start talking payouts and commission, in a lot of cases where they work for some of these big name travel agencies, they get they'll get a little bit of a hourly commission, I mean hourly rate, but they get, like, I'll say in some cases five, no more than 10% of the commission for the trip they just sold, which is crazy. It's outrageous. So I can book a trip. I booked a trip for sandals, which took me probably 20 minutes, and I got maybe $700 worth of commission for 20 minutes worth of work. So, I mean, for me, that's a no-brainer. Absolutely.
So here's the other question. We consider Lynn a hybrid in vacations because not only is she building the travel side, but she is now a international executive building the flip side of the business to the point now. Let's talk a little bit about that and why did you decide to build residual? I know you've had some customers that said they've watched you travel and said, hey, listen, I know you're booking my flight, but they're watching her on Facebook and saying, wait a second.
Exactly. Wow. I cannot discount the effect that social media it has on my business, on both sides of my business.
Mhm.
I'm able to book as much travel as I do because people see me traveling all the time. I even once gave someone a quote from standing in front of the property that they were interested in. And I said, hey, I'm getting ready to do a video. I want you to tune in 10 minutes.
Mm.
And I was standing in front of the very resort that I just sent her a quote to. And I actually closed the business in Mexico with my laptop. So
Wow.
this business is portable. You can take it anywhere with you and conduct business. And I plan on making some bookings next week while we're in Vegas. But the other thing that I definitely want to talk about, I was one of those people when I first started, I was kind of scared of the recruiting, and I was like, I don't think that's for me. I'm going to just sit over here and book some trips. And
Hmm.
and for those of you who knew me, that was it. I was the travel queen. So I let Kemp do all of the heavy lifting, and I'm just booking travel. But it got to the point I had this epiphany, or the light bulb went off. Well, I'm recruiting people to take a trip. So if I can recruit them to take a trip, why can't I recruit them to come into the business? So the one thing that I started tweaking is once someone came to me asking me to book a trip, I just would ask them this simple question. I would say, if I could show you a way that you could save anywhere from 50 to 65% on this trip,
Mm.
would that be something that would interest you? Yes or no? Everyone's going to say yes. I send them the quick video, and at that point, I'll ask them if they saw opportunity for themselves, and then I three-way them in. That's it. And being the seasoned travel agent, I still had to put the brakes on saying too much. Because I already know that I'm the subject matter expert, but even I have to, what, that's a very good question. Hold on just a moment. And I three-way them in to my upline. So that's key. And the other thing that I have to insist, especially since this is convention season, um, go to any event, any meeting, any boot camp, anything that you are qualified to go to, you should be attending. This time last year, when we came back from Memphis, I was on fire.
Mm.
I was on fire. It was so encouraging and so uplifting to be in that environment and to see everybody winning, to see everyone walking across the stage. And this time, I saw people who walked across the stage last year that was an inspiration to me, and I hope to return that favor. So guys, if you aren't going to these conventions or going on the vacation experiences, I definitely urge you to. It's important because when you go to these events, those are the people who are ranking up. When you go to the convention, those are the people who are ranking up. So, hey, the next stop is Diamond.
Woohoo! Let's give it up for our very own hybrid. Lynn, Deidre, Lynn, exactly. Harmon doing the daggone thing, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully today has been inspirational to you. We can't wait to see y'all on this weekend in Vegas. All I can tell you is, literally, ladies and gentlemen, you got a opportunity. At the end of the day, it's totally up to you how you're going to use your opportunity. But guess what? The better you become, the better your opportunity becomes. Notice she said she continued to learn. And I believe that's how most people do. They go to college, they learn. Then they get into their career. Am I right? So with that being said, it's important to learn as much as you can. Be on these trainings, listen to these calls, get on the recordings. They're recorded. They're on the training website, creatorsofwealth.com. We have events going on all over the world. Get plugged into the company's corporate events. They are constantly communicating with you. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't get enough information based on something that you plan on making your legacy. Hopefully this has been inspirational for you. Hopefully it's been educational for you. And guess what? I know it's been motivational for you because Mr. Motivator is here. So with that being said, Lynn, we want to thank you for stopping in our studio. Mr. Mumford, we want to stop you for stopping in our studio today and sharing and feeding the people. And God bless you all. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're on the team call on tomorrow night, where we're going to communicate everything. We want to, again, congratulate all of our brand new partners into the business. All of those, we want to congratulate all of those that have been promoted throughout the business. And guess what? We can't wait to see you in Vegas. God bless. Take care. Take charge. And take control of your business, because if you don't, somebody else will. Good night, or good afternoon, should I say.